Hey guys, welcome back to this new video. Welcome back to the channel. I want to say thank you to everybody that's been liking, commenting and subscribing recently. It's still a small channel, but now hopefully I'll have more time to get more content and videos out to you guys. And I wanted to give everyone a rundown and give you guys a rundown of how it has been in 1 year since we have been here. So let's do this, guys. So guys, 1 year, wow, how fast has that time gone? It's unbelievable. Now I'm out here in this amazing, beautiful setting you can see behind me. I love autumn, or what you guys call fall. Here in Canada, it's absolutely beautiful. Luckily now in Toronto, we get some of that good climate, the good weather, so we actually get the leaves staying on the trees and we're already into November, and that's an amazing thing because I have friends in different parts of Canada and it's a different story. You know, the leaves have all gone, the colours all gone. We actually even drove all the way to Algonquin just a couple of weeks ago hoping to see all of the beautiful colours, but guys, we were too late. It was a great drive anyway, but all of the colours had gone, and that's literally 2 hours north something of Toronto, so it's really a special place to be. We arrived in October last year. You know, as all new immigrants arrive, we had 2 years of lockdown. We had been stuck and trapped where we were from in England, and we felt like, you know, nothing was going and nothing was moving, and this was a story all over the world with so many people feeling the same way. Now we finally got those tickets. We jumped on that flight from Birmingham Airport, which is my city where I'm from, and we had a layover in Paris, and we had all of our paperwork. We packed all of our lives into, I think, 4 or 5 bags, and we jumped on that plane. We got to the airport, we got our work visa. They print it off at the airport, so it's kind of strange. You're full of anxiety until you get to the destination, and then they say yes or no to your visa at the destination. It's kind of strange. Anyway, that's all gone, and that was October of last year. Now last year felt a bit cooler. Right now it feels a bit warmer. I think we're on a lucky streak. This weekend it's like 16-17 degrees for November in Toronto, guys. That's amazing. When we first arrived, we didn't know we were going to go into the Omicron lockdown, and that really changed things, guys. It was really strange. Everyone thought COVID was done, but it wasn't. COVID wasn't done. The November and December months were great after we landed. Just like now, it's amazing. It's honestly a much better winter than England. England, it's grey. It was miserable. We landed in October, and a very good friend of ours just said to us, don't come in October because you're going to come straight into the middle of winter. I'd never actually been to Canada before, but I knew well enough not to come in January. February is going to be cold anywhere you go. So we landed in October despite our friend's advice, and you know what, it was amazing. It was October, November, December. It was blue skies. It was cool. It was getting colder, but it was blue skies, and we just don't get that in England. It was just such a nice place to be, and I really thought, what's this Canadian winter that everyone's talking about? Is it really that cold? And along came January, and along with January came the Omicron lockdown. So it was like a double whammy. It was -25, it was dark, and then we were all kind of working from home or stuck indoors, and at that point, you know, you really want to be able to socialize and get out there, but unfortunately, with the lockdown, we weren't actually able to go anywhere. Everything was closed. The bars were closed, the restaurants were closed, the gyms were closed. The parks were open, but honestly, guys, stepping out in January trying to go to a park in Toronto, you're better off having ice skates or some kind of other sledging form, because you're not going to walk anywhere. Really, it's a risk just trying to go for a walk around the block. I fell a number of times. You get into March and the days brighten up, and that gives you a lot of hope. Honestly, guys, the summer is the highlight. I can't express how amazing the summer is here. From mid-May to mid-September, it was 25 to 35 degrees Celsius. It was awesome. I didn't think that Canada would have a summer like this, and we were in for a treat. It was amazing. Now we're coming out of summer, we're coming back into fall. You can see all the colors behind me, and it's reminding me of the very time we landed. So guys, honestly, the weather I would say in Toronto, the weather's probably the best that you're going to get in the whole of Canada. Now, I know there's Vancouver that has a lot of mild temperatures, but it rains a lot and it's grey a lot. I can just stay in England personally. Being here in Toronto, it's only really January, February and mid-March that's really going to feel cold. The rest of the winter is, I feel like, anywhere else. I mean, it's November, I'm out here in a t-shirt, you know, people are out walking in t-shirts and shorts today. It's a hot November weekend. So public transport sucks. Sorry Toronto, it's just how it is. If you go on Google Maps and type in a car journey that takes 20 minutes and you hit the public transport button, it's going to take you about 2.5 hours. And for the first 6-7 weeks, that's all we were doing, just public transport. Our days were just going, finding places and doing all this stuff. And honestly, sorry Toronto, but you lose when it comes to public transport. When it's winter, guys, I feel like Toronto's pretty ugly. It's not really a pretty place. Like the whole GTA, and you know, I had to drive out to Northern Ontario to really find some pretty spots and beautiful places. But for me, it's kind of like industrial. It's cold, it's grey, some of the architecture looks awful. I mean, I'll see if I can find some pictures and put them up for you guys, but it was just kind of like, where have I moved to? I felt like, you know, you read all these articles. Before I left, I was a sucker. I was thought, oh, Toronto, Vancouver, some of the top 10 best places to live in the world. And after a year of living here, Toronto's an okay city. If you're looking for a lot of outdoor things, it's great. The whole of the GTA, Northern Ontario, is amazing. I really love being out there. It gives me such a sense of freedom. The lakes is so beautiful. I'm from England. I would say London's way better for many things than Toronto. I've lived in Shanghai, I've lived in Hong Kong. Those cities are some hyper cities, some big cities. They are way better than Toronto. So for me, it's kind of, Toronto's a sleepy city. It's kind of a strange thing to say, but until you get here, you don't really realize, like, there's a lot of space. People are kind of slower paced than other cities. It's kind of a chill town. It's a chill city vibe. There's not a whole lot that's going on out here that's going to really get you buzzed. When I first moved here, I heard the bars shut down at 2, and I was like, what? You know, in England, things go till 6 in the morning and stuff. And now, guys, the one thing that's really going to get you when you come here, and if anyone that's watching that's been here, is how expensive it is, and it kind of sucks. I wish Toronto was a cooler city to be as expensive as it is, and that's really a kind of a sad thing. Now, I've been here for a year. Maybe I'm yet to experience more parts of Toronto and more parts of the GTA to really understand the city more, but after 1 year of being here, you know, these guys really make it out like you're living in some Los Angeles or some real prime real estate property kind of neck of the woods. But it's just Toronto, you know, it's kind of chill city vibes. Everyone here is very work centric. They focus on work. There's a few social things that go on in the summertime. It's okay. Truly, for me, what makes this city great is the outer regions of the GTA. I'm talking about the whole of Ontario, right? When you go out there, guys, yeah, you've got the Niagara Falls, you can go up to Blue Mountains, you can do all these kind of local Northern Ontario things. But you know, when you drive up to places like Algonquin, when you really start pushing up north, you go to different areas. It's extremely beautiful. You know, that's the one thing I think that makes Toronto really cool. You know, Toronto as a city is okay. It's not bad. It's a good space to be. There's a lot of jobs here, and I'll get onto that next. But really, you can hop on a ferry, you can go down to Toronto Islands, you can drive down to Niagara Falls, you can cross the border and go into Buffalo and visit New York State. New York State is absolutely beautiful, guys. We've driven through that as well. I've really tried to do a lot in the 1 year that we've been here, really tried to push it out as much as I can, along with work and life. But again, you know, if you go, and you got Blue Mountains, and if you go to Tobermory, you got all these places, you go past Algonquin, you go to Sudbury, you got all these amazing parts of Northern Ontario. And the best thing is, guys, it's such a looked after space. Canada really takes care of its provincial parks and its outdoor greenery spaces. You can drive for hours and you're going to find people out there taking care of things, looking after things, and making sure that the pathways are clean and everything's really spot on. I love Canada for those small detail things. And again, you know, if you keep moving around, you know, you can find yourself going into Ottawa. Montreal's up the road. all of these amazing things. And I think that's really what makes Toronto great. It's not only the fact that it's close to metropolitan cities like New York City as well. It's the fact that you can go in driving range and you can be in all these other incredible spaces. It's also, guys, for me personally, a great airport hub. Now, the airport itself sucks. I'm sorry, Pearson, you've probably been struggling like all the other airports, but we've lost luggages and had all this stuff happen traveling through Pearson. But it's just a good connection city where you can jump to New York City very quickly. You can go to so many of these local areas that surround us from the United States, and I think that's awesome. We've still got so much of that to do. Now, I've talked about work, guys. Work in Toronto is intense. People work here around the clock. It's just like this unstoppable force of nature. All these new immigrants that arrive, people hustle like it's crazy, like 80-hour weeks is just almost common to some people out here. It's nuts. People are really struggling sometimes. I've talked about how students are struggling, the new immigrants are struggling, but I've also talked about how successful they are. Some of these guys, they come here and in 3 or 4 years they've bought their first house because they've just grafted around the clock. Work life is really, I feel, intense here, but you really make what of it what you can. Now, I've been here for a year, guys, and in a year I've had I think 3 or 4 jobs. I've really transitioned and I've tried to move and hustle as much as I could. Some jobs won't work out, some jobs will, some jobs you'll just outgrow. And guys, this is Canada, this is Toronto, it's expensive, so you gotta hustle. You really gotta find the right job, the right employer, the right boss, the right role, to be honest, because you can get stuck in roles you don't want to do just for the sake of getting by. And one of the things, guys, out here in Northern America, it's the 2-week holiday period. Everyone talks about this, no one does anything about it. My family back in Europe and England, they have 4 weeks plus Christmas plus all the bank holidays. It's 5 weeks off. So it's really an important thing, if you want to be able to work in sync with your family members across the pond in different parts of the world, that you want to be able to meet them in certain places or have time off and go and see them, or have them come and see you, and I think that's really important. But I would say to everybody, anyone that thinks of moving out here, always try to negotiate. It's all about negotiation in North America. It's the way the system is. Guys, one thing that sucks, apart from the public transport, banking system. If you're from Europe or you're from England, you're going to find that the banking system here, it's so backwards. It's not really a customer service, it's a business. It's just so strange, because in England everything seems like a customer service, whereas here everything seems like it's a business. You need help, you need a letter, $5, $10. You can't transfer your money like a wire transfer. You have to do e-transfers on the apps. If you put in one bank card into another bank machine, they're going to charge you for that, and they charge you for every single thing. I've talked about this before. It sucks. There's nothing that you can do about it but to try and adapt. And you'll get it eventually. A big thing, guys, coming out here, I've talked about this before, is get your credit score right. Do what you can to do it. People talk about this stuff all the time as newcomers. You're going to need a credit score. Without a credit score, you won't get car financing. You won't get even approved for your first apartment. If that's what you're looking for, it's going to be a nightmare, but you will get through it. Now, guys, there's so many topics and things that I can talk about, everything that I've been through in the last 12 months. One of the major things here in Canada and Toronto is just the expense, right? Is this a long-term place for us? I don't know. Is Toronto the long-term place for us? I really don't know. The problem is things are so expensive. Now, the housing market has peaked. It's peaked and it's been coming down for the last few months. Houses have dropped by 200-300k, but when you put it into perspective, that's a $2 million house has now become maybe $1.7 million. Realistically, how many new immigrants can afford that, right? Will it keep going down? I think that's going to be a great thing for new immigrants like me that have been here for a year, or that are landing every day. Immigrants are coming in like you won't believe it. Especially after 2 years of lockdown, all students, everyone's now pouring into Toronto, pouring into Canada. There's a bunch of jobs that they're filling, and there's more jobs to be had. There's supposed to be a recession coming. I don't know if it's going to affect Toronto. Toronto seems like one of those places like London, like the big cities. It just keeps going and keeps going. It lives in its own smoke. Montreal's down the road. I know it's down the road. It's cheaper, it's a little colder, but they have these kind of very strict rules about French speaking, making sure the kids are fluently speaking it at school. They're kind of passing a lot of these old French laws, and I feel like they're kind of going backwards rather than diversifying and going forwards. I've yet to visit Montreal. I thought I would have in the first year, but life has been so busy. We definitely will pop down there and have a look at what's going on. I know I'm probably going to love it, because I really do miss the architecture. I really do miss that stuff about, you know, cities and Europe and stuff like that. So I know Montreal's got a bit of it. We'll check it out. You know, maybe it's for us, maybe it's not for us. Now the other thing is, guys, I know that a lot of my new friends that have moved here, Alberta is calling, right? This is the radio, on the TV, you're going to get these adverts. I've been hearing them, everyone's been hearing them, everyone I know. And people that have been here for 6 months or a year, they constantly, you know, I text my friends and stuff, they're like, hey, Alberta is calling, Alberta is calling. So honestly, I don't know. I have a friend that lives out there, it's November and it's already snow in his backyard. I prefer this backyard right now. I heard that a lot of people can go out there, they make good money, they become successful financially, which is a great thing, but obviously there's not only the finance part of life, right? My friends that are out there, they will tell me that, hey, winter's already started and it's not gonna go away until March, so you know, that's a solid 5-month period of just cold winter. It's also kind of isolated, you know, going out to places like Calgary or Edmonton. We have to think about the commute. I mean, we're not going to be traveling 7 times a year to see our family, but the one time we do, you know, it's going to be an extra expense, it's going to be extra flight time. There's so much to consider. Would I do it financially for a few years? Maybe. Would I call it a forever home? Probably not, purely down to the weather and the isolation of how far it is. That's why I really love Ontario, but Ontario's super expensive, guys. You've got to get used to that. There's either you continue to climb and hustle and work your way up, and I really don't like this word hustle, because it's just this kind of word that, you know, people have been using for the past few years, of saying work harder and, you know, break your back and then enjoy life when you're 60 or something. I don't know really what it's all about, but you know, I like to have that balance. I'm out here, guys, in the big open spaces. I like to make videos, I like fitness, I like, you know, going for runs, I like doing all these other things, as well as hustling and being financially sound. So guys, what can I say? Honestly, if I tell the truth, and if any one of my friends that are watching this really know the truth, they're gonna know how difficult it has been. It has been so tough, just constantly staying on top of things as a new immigrant in your first year. You can look at it in 2 ways, guys. You can come here maybe as a student and you want to have fun and you want to go out, make friends and enjoy your life. But I'm plus 30, I'm 33, and I'm out here as a young adult, and I'm trying to make my future. I'm trying to set things up, and I'm trying to find the right place that's for us. When I look back at some of the videos I made at the start, when we first arrived, to now, it's an absolutely different person, and it's a person for the better. The change has been for the better, and that's what I really, really enjoy. We'll keep you guys in tune with us, and everything that we do and whatever the development is going forwards, we'll stick together through this, guys. It's been tough, honestly. It's been tough. I'm smiling now when I say that, but you want to see me in some of those weekends, those days, those months when I'm just really stressed, when I'm overworked, when I've packed in 65, 70 hours a week and I'm tired, and you know, I've questioned, you question yourself so many times when you make a move like this. But if you stick with it, stick with your gut, stick with what you know, there's probably a ton of more things that I can talk about and tell you guys about, but honestly it's too much to pack all into one video. So that's why I love this channel. You guys, you know, you're subscribing, you're commenting, it's giving me more passion to keep doing this, and the journey continues, and we'll stick together throughout this, and what happens next, let's see. But for now, guys, thanks for watching, thanks for sitting in as long as I've been talking on this 1 year full review. But yeah, I'll see you guys in the next one. Take care.